Okay, so we're now up to week number 27, metaphor number 27. We're almost at the end. The latest touchscreen technology. And this technology is so sophisticated, it is also known as thought-feel touchscreen. That means to say that technology has reached a point, this is a metaphor, this is not necessarily reality yet. Technology has reached a point where you can buy something about the surface of your watch face, and it is wirelessly connected to your lathe and your lathe, your mind and your heart, your thoughts and your feelings. Meaning to say that on this side of the technology, if you press the H button, stands for happiness. Every happy thought, memory, experience that you ever had in your entire life starts pouring into your mind from the moment you were born till now. Every smile, every kind word, every peck on the cheek from mummy when you were an infant, and from daddy, and the cooing, every single time you did something right and someone recognized you for it, every accomplishment, every happy memory. When you press this side of the technology, that memory comes pouring into your mind, and it is pure ecstasy. I mean, if you took every single piece of Shakespeare and non-fiction, Joseph Conrad, Blake, and I don't know, even Harry Potter, and you condense it into one 24-hour period, it would not equal the ecstasy of all the pleasure you are experiencing from all the happy memories from this incredible technology. I was going to burst a blood vessel just from excitement. Now, this technology works the other way as well. If you press the D button on the other side of the technology, it stands for depression. Every unhappy thought that you ever experienced in your entire life, every memory, every sad moment, every pain, every unkind word, every single time someone insulted me, and every single time someone put me down, or compared me to others who touched really very sensitive buttons on me, comes flooding through my mind. I can't take it anymore. I want to die. Would you give this to your mother-in-law? Would you give this to your brother-in-law? Would you give this to your sister? Would you give it to your brother? Would you give it to your roommate? Would you give it to your friend in class who you don't like? And let them... You wouldn't let anybody touch this technology. Why not? Why not? Oh, because it's wirelessly connected to you, that whatever side you touch, you're going to experience in your mind and your feelings. Oh, so you're not going to easily give this to anybody. You wouldn't trust this with anyone. If that's obvious to us all, then why would I ever fall into the trap of believing you make me mad? You've ruined the best years of my life. You drive me crazy. You've driven me to the point of almost insanity. You know how much money I spend on therapy just to recover from your treatment and mistreatment and abuse of me. And it goes on and on and on and on. You see, I can only blame and accuse and deny and excuse and compare and complain and say it's your fault if I give you the power to control my thoughts and feelings. Why would anyone do that in their right mind? I don't think technology is that far away from this in the sense that we can at least imagine it. I think very few decades ago you couldn't even imagine it, but just in your imagination, the metaphor, ask the children, can someone really destroy you? Or you have to give them permission. You know, there were certain Hasidim who were chased. Their lives were in danger. But their minds were so fixated on tefillah, simchas achayim, loving Hashem, yirat shamayim, learning Torah with hislavos, with excitement and enthusiasm, that even in the Gehenna of the Warsaw ghettos, hiding in basements with little or no food or water, learning Torah with simcha, was what was going through their minds. But one second, isn't that denial of reality? Well, it looks that way in this world, but starting with the true wake-up call, the moment the neshama leaves the body, it becomes so obvious that I was only in this world for the next world. And so reality really takes place inside our mind. Which buttons are we pressing? Not you pressing my buttons. Which buttons am I pressing? Which buttons do I not let anybody press? And if they do, how far am I away from putting my finger on the H button? I'm one thought away. No one can touch the D button. Nobody. I can. But how far am I away from switching to the H button? I'm one thought away. Always. Forever. So that's the power of this simple metaphor of the touch screen technology, where we're describing thought, feeling, touch screen technology in the size of a watch. And get the kids to talk about, so who really controls my feelings? Who truly controls my thoughts? And every week you're doing another metaphor, it's going to sink in. The drops will eventually seep through the lips, so to speak, in that mashal we gave previously, and bring the cure. That's the ultimate cure. The ultimate cure is, what am I thinking? If I'm depressed, it's because I'm thinking how life is so terrible and there's nothing I can do to turn it around. And I get myself not busy because what's the point? And then I start doing nothing. And then I start vegetating into nothing, literally. But it all starts here. Happiness is never outside of us. It's always an inside job. Security is never outside of us. It's always an inside job. Emunah is never outside of us. It's an inside job. And as simple as I'm making it sound, it's because it's deceptively simple. It's like you're living inside air all the time, and you and I pay no attention. Because it's there all the time. You and I live in thought all the time. You and I don't have to pay attention. But when we start to realize the Torah is talking to me about thought, in hundreds and hundreds of mitzvahs depend on thought. I mean, 68 of dafka on thought, but all the others, there's lots of mitzvahs which depend on kavanas alev for it to be optimum mitzvah. And once we realize, hey, my marriage is what I'm thinking it is, not who she is, who he is. My kids are not my real kids. My kids are really who I think they are. I'm not who I am. I'm who I think I am. And it always boils down to the same thing. It's what I think that matters the most. Okay, so we're now ready for the very last metaphor. Mazel tov for getting this far. Number 28. And that is how high-tech advertising is a metaphor for how Hashem runs the world. So the year right now is 2019. I don't know when you're watching this DVD or video, or whatever technology you're watching it on, but you're probably aware that it's only very recently, relatively speaking, that advertising has taken a whole new leap. A completely different madrega, a whole different level. Technology now allows for profiling the consumer to a very detailed profile of your favorite movies, your favorite gadgets, your favorite shoes, your favorite books you like to buy, the favorite clothes you like to buy. And it's creating, there's what they call logarithms, there are patterns that the computer is able to determine the range of products and even colors, down to the smallest detail, by identifying patterns in your buying of what you're interested in, so that the first thing that pops up when you go buying on Amazon is, in the past you've been interested in this type of book, so they will bring to your attention a whole list of other items visually, with a written description as well, as to something that is clearly potential in your thought range of what you enjoy buying in the past, what you have bought in the past. And that's very powerful. They do that on Amazon, they do it on Netflix, which means that they've identified through the patterns of the type of movies you like to watch, they figure out, oh, you like action movies. So they'll start showing you the first thing, all the action movies that you can choose from. Oh, you like, I don't know, period drama or comedy. It doesn't make a difference. I'm just showing you how advertising has gone to a whole new level based on what they call logarithms that are able to detail the profile of your buying patterns. Why am I sharing this with you? So it's interesting. How does Hashem run the world? So there are lots of ways you can answer this. A very simple way to answer it is HaKadosh Baruch Hu created the universe and then mankind in planet Earth and deals with us in a simple formula called Midah Keneged Midah, which usually translates as measure for measure. That means to say, if I put out negative thinking, negative words, negative actions, hey, there's going to be a reciprocation. So if I speak Lashon Hara in the workplace and I start noticing people don't like me and people talk about me or against me and the boss it doesn't like me either, there should be no mystery because I'm generating Lashon Hara between workers and about the boss and about the company, so it's no mystery that it bounces back on me. It's called Midah Keneged Midah, measure for measure. It's a world of reciprocation. The non-Jewish world, if you want to call it the secular world, has come up with a lot of different formulas, very similar, like The Secret, the law of attraction. But the Etzem concept here is there's such a thing as Midah Keneged Midah, which is the way Hashem has actually created the logarithms in society, in man's reaction and actions interface with other people, so that we get back what we put out. So let me give you an example of how this works. You want to use the metaphor of the way advertising tries to manipulate the mind to lure it towards things that it's already identified you probably would be interested in, this type of product or fashion or book or title, area of interest, hobby, gadgets, movies, etc. So in the same way they've profiled us, the starting point of that is the fact that we went in that direction in the first place. And when we went there twice, we began the possibility of a pattern, which is usually identified at the third choice in the same direction. Because now you've got 3 points, even 2 points on a graph, you can draw a square, a straight line. And once you, with 2 points on a graph, you can draw a straight line, you can now determine every direction that straight line is going to go through, every point that straight line is going to go through in both directions. So in the same way that they're able to identify where you're going with your spending habits and your viewing habits, it's a brilliant metaphor for showing how Hashem runs the world. Because the Gemara tells us, Markus Daf Yud Amud Beis, B'derech she'adam roitz leilech, the direction a person wants to go in, moilichi noisoi, they accompany him. Who's they? Who's they? So interestingly, the Marasha on that Gemara tells us every single thought creates a malach. Every word, every single thought creates another malach. Every action creates a malach, a spiritual force. These spiritual forces are not created in isolation. They are the logarithms that create a pattern that the more I talk about, think about, and go in a certain direction, they accompany me. Who's they go with me in that direction? The malachim that I've created. There's a spiritual force that you and I cannot see that is created by what we think, do, and say. Hashem runs the world in such a way that, says the Chavetz Chaim, he died in 1933, but he said that technology is going to reveal more and more and more how easy it is to have emunah in the Torah and Chazal. And there's so many examples of it, like a GPS system that is hooked up to satellites, where the satellite is sending back in almost real time a signal to your navigational system or Waze, so that your car is identified in its exact location within about 4 to 6 feet. And that's happening in the amount of time it takes for light to go back and forth between the satellite and your receptor inside your GPS navigating system. That's incredible, because until such technology, you had to have a lot of faith in certain statements of, let's say, Pirkei Avos, Ayin Roya. There's such a thing as an eye that sees everything, Oizen Shmas, and an ear that hears everything. And Kol Dvarecha, everything that you're saying is nichtav, is written down, is recorded. Well, guess what? Today, on the tip of a needle, you can contain all the information that would include the address and phone number and name of every household in the entire United States at the tip of a needle. Because technology has reached a point where you can compress so much information into such a small space that there's so many chazals, so many statements in the Gemara and even the Torah that it's not a leap of faith anymore, because you know from technology that we experience a world that is similar to that. And now with this leap in advertising and the profiling of consumers, you can understand how HaKadosh Baruch Hu runs the world. Because you're the one who's feeding the pattern into the computer that spits back a reflection of your spending habits, of your buying habits, of your viewing habits. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu has created a system where everything we say, think and do creates a spiritual force that directs us in that direction. So I'm closing with this particular metaphor because we have been investing a lot of time in emphasizing and reiterating again and again and again that it's the power of the mind that's able to affect a person's destiny. It affects our interaction with ourselves, with other people, with HaKadosh Baruch Hu, with our physical environment. And it all starts with thought. Thought is the beginning place. And in recognizing that thought is not just thought, we create our reality through thought. We not only create our reality, we actually create malachim. We create forces that you cannot see but are still there, whether in the same way in technology, there are light waves, microwaves, sound waves you and I can't see. There's technology that can measure them, but you can't see them with your naked eye. Well, guess what? HaKadosh Baruch Hu created spiritual worlds that are created by you. What you think, what you say, what you do. And knowing that's your power of creativity, and knowing that children should learn that Middos is all in the arena of thought. All of it. Apology, resentment, forgiveness, asking for forgiveness, being mochel, being forgiving, all starts here. Emunah, Avas Hashem, Avas Yisrael, Yiras Shamayim, it's all here. These are all mitzvahs of the mind. By using technology and the metaphors that technology afford us to notice, Chazal were giving us ideas that are reflected in technology today that will help us understand how Hashem runs the world. Hashem runs the world midah keneged midah. You and I are the ones who are judging ourselves on Rosh Hashanah. Hashem sits in judgment, but the book he opens up of our track record and our profile, who wrote all the details there? You and I, with our thoughts and our words and our actions. And Hashem gives us a 10-day grace period between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to have a different thought that would wipe out anything on the negative side of the sheet and give me a clean slate, so that on Yom Kippur I get full kapara for mistakes last year and I start again. But I don't have to wait till Yom Kippur to do tshuva. Tshuva is any second, any moment, any thought of any day or any night, all of my life. So it's in the power of recognizing that the whole arena of Middos is not about what I teach children as much as what they learn from us. Middos is more about me, changing me in the classroom as a teacher, being understanding, listening, empathic, giving another chance, being patient, being loving. Whoa, there's a lot of pieces of me being a teacher that has to do with my Middos. And me to teach that to children is not something you can do so simply from a book and fill in the blank. It's not so much just from watching something on a screen. It's much more from role modeling. And providing metaphors is one way to really help bring home into the mind of a child that wherever they go in life, they go with themselves. Because who they really are is over here. Nothing they will ever carry in their backpack is ever going to be closer to them than what's going on over here. Their wives, the husbands that they married, the children they'll have, the home they'll live in, are not going to be as close as what they have here. This is what's going to matter the most. And the quality of their life with their wife, with their husband, with their children is going to start from over here. And the relationship with their physical belongings and their environment and their career all starts over here. So this is where we want the children to grow from, as opposed to teach certain aspects of this midah and this midah. It's true, because once you hit the Mussar Sfarim and Sifrei Hasidus and Sifrei Hashkafa and Sifrei Machshava, it becomes so much easier for a child to relate to how Chazal all along were talking about Hilchas thinking, the laws of the mind. So in the schus of using these metaphors, we should be zeicha to have much nachas from our children in them taking more control of their lives and injecting with more simcha and emunah in Hashem and His beautiful mitzvahs. Amen. What we'll continue on next is 2 more sections. Number 5, Sipurei Tzadikim, to help shape the minds of our children by talking about the beautiful stories of the lives of tzaddikim and things they've done. There are many, many books that have come out over the years. And then number 6, we're going to close on the art of the deal. How do you sell anything to anybody? So hold on tight.